Baseball loves arrivals, but it is absolutely brutal to the ones who disappear. Let's get into it today on Locked On A's.
You are Locked On A's, your daily podcast on the Athletics, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Merry Christmas and welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the number one sports podcast network. My name is Booney, one name, all passion, no sugarcoating. I'm a lifelong A's fan who has spent the past season covering this team every single day with post-game breakdowns, prospect deep dives, roster decisions, and all the chaos in between. And in the off-season, even on Christmas, we are still covering the A's every single day. And I don't show up with corporate talking points or highlight real cliches. I show up with honesty, edge, and the perspective of someone who refuses to let this team be treated like an afterthought. If you want blind optimism, look elsewhere. If you want truth, fire, and a voice that actually cares, welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team, your A's, every single day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. Christmas Day is when the world slows down. No games, no noise, no hot takes screaming for attention, just reflection. And that's exactly where Gunnar Hoglund's story belongs, in the stillness. Because some careers don't fall apart in front of everyone. Some fade quietly while sports keep spinning. On May 2nd, 2025, Gunnar Hoglund stepped onto a major league mound in Miami and announced himself like he had waited his whole life for the moment. Because he had calm, confident, fearless, 6 innings that didn't just belong in a box score, but in memory. It felt like the beginning of something real, the kind of night that changes how a franchise looks at a pitcher, the kind of night that tells you this guy is going to matter. And then baseball. Baseball did what baseball always does. It took everything away without warning. The injury didn't just end a season, it erased momentum. It erased attention. It erased a name from the conversation. While others moved on, Gunnar Hoglund was left alone with rehab tables, empty facilities, and the hardest truth in sport. Nobody waits for you. This is a Christmas story not about miracles, but about resolve, about doing brutal, lonely work when the dream has already touched your hands and slipped away, about a pitcher who has already survived surgery, doubt, and obscurity, and refuses to let one lost season be the sentence on his career. Today isn't about what Gunnar Hoglund was. It's about why his story isn't finished. Today's show is going to move in 3 very intentional parts. We're not rushing this because Gunnar Hoglund's story deserves space. We'll close with what the story really is about. The fight you don't see, the rehab rooms, the empty mornings, the belief it takes to keep going when the spotlight is gone. This isn't a comeback victory lap. It's a Christmas Day reflection on resilience, patience, and why Gunnar Hoglund's story isn't finished yet, even if the box scores say otherwise. In a few minutes, we're going to talk about the part baseball doesn't like to sit with, the injury, the season ending, and how fast the sport moved on. We'll dig into how momentum disappears, how names fall out of conversations, and why being forgotten is often harder than being hurt. This is the uncomfortable middle of the story where most careers quietly die. First, we're going to take you back to the night everything finally came together. His major league debut in Miami. Not just what he did on the mound, but what it meant. The years of surgery, rehab, and waiting that led to 6 innings that proved he belonged. This is the arrival, the payoff for a pitcher who earned every step. On a clear night in Miami on May 2nd, 2025, a young right-hander strode off the mound to a standing ovation. Gunnar Hoglund had just turned his major league debut into a nearly flawless performance. 6 innings, 1 run, no walks, 7 Ks. It was a fairy tale beginning, and his family cheered from the stands. Hoglund became the first A's pitcher since 1943 to allow 1 run in 6 innings pitched while allowing 0 walks. In his debut, in that moment, the dream was real. Hoglund beamed, crediting the loved ones, quote unquote, who have all played a part in me getting to this point now. Without them, I wouldn't be here. His manager, Mark Kotze, praised the rookie's poise, quote unquote, from pitch 1, seemed to be really focused. Anytime you get a guy that can go 6 innings in a game and have a quality start the first time out, that's pretty impressive. Hoglund's debut was years in the making. He first made waves at the University of Mississippi, Ole Miss, where he emerged as the Rebels' ace. He looked like a future frontline starter, mid-90s fastball, wipeout slider, command that made scouts nod instead of scribble. In his final college season, the spring of 2021, Hoglund struck out 96 batters in 62 2/3 innings with a 2.87 ERA. His work ethic was legendary even then. He routinely hit the gym and a pitching academy 4 days a week, perfecting his craft off season. Yet fate intervened. In May 2021, with the MLB draft just weeks away, an MRI revealed a UCL tear, and Hoglund underwent Tommy John surgery. It was a crushing setback for the top 5 draft prospect, and most pitchers never fully come back from that moment. Some do, but not quickly, and almost none do it quietly. Hoglund did it quietly. No entitlement, no shortcuts. He rehabbed. He waited. He trusted the process even when the process didn't love him back. The Toronto Blue Jays still took a chance using their first-round pick, 19th overall, on Hoglund that summer. The A's acquired him in the offseason as part of the Matt Chapman trade in November 2021. By the time he reached the A's system, he was already older than most prospects, already labeled quote-unquote injury risk, already running uphill. Still, inning by inning, he earned it. He logged innings when his arm barked. He adjusted when hitters adjusted. He didn't overpower the minors. He outthought them. Although, it did take some time for him to get there. He spent 2022 recovering, pitching only 8 innings that year after surgery. By 2023, he was ramping back up, throwing 61 innings over 16 minor league starts with a 6.05 ERA, just to regain his feel. Then came a breakout in 2024 across AA and AAA. Hoglund logged 130 2/3 innings with a 3.44 ERA. The organization took notice, and entering 2025, he ranked among the A's top 15 prospects, number 14 on MLB Pipeline. In early 2025, he terrorized Pacific Coast League hitters at 2.43 ERA in 6 AAA starts, and the A's gave him the call. Baseball doesn't warn you when the moment arrives. It doesn't slow down. It doesn't ask if you are ready. And on May 2nd, 2025, Gunnar Hoglund walked onto a major league mound in Miami and found out just how fast everything can change. One night, one uniform, one chance, and suddenly every year of rehab, every bullpen session in near empty parks, every quiet doubt was standing behind him, waiting to see if he belonged. He didn't blink. When Hoglund took the mound at Lone Depot Park, he carried all the ups and downs of his journey. In the first inning, he escaped unscathed after allowing a hit and then settled in. Over the next 4 frames, he retired 10 of the 11 batters, blanking the Marlins and working around a 2-on jam in the 4th with a brilliant changeup out of a 3-2 count. His final line was historic. 6 innings, 1 run, 6 hits, no walks, 7 Ks. That's a 1.50 ERA, earning a win in a 6-1 victory. Quote unquote, just a big weight off my shoulders, Hoglund said afterwards. Visibly moved by the moment, he admitted that every inning was surreal. Quote unquote, I just couldn't wait to get on the mound, he smiled. His family's pride was palpable. Grandpa Jerry Hoglund, who'd followed every step of Gunnar's career since T-ball, beamed at his grandson's success. It's special to watch him, Jerry said. People don't realize how much hard work he's put into his profession. He works at his craft, and he's getting what he deserves. For a brief moment, all the adversity seemed behind him. Gunnar Hoglund didn't luck his way into the majors. He earned it. Every pitch in that Miami debut carried years of surgery, doubt, and discipline. That night wasn't a fluke or a feel-good moment. It was confirmation that he belonged at this level and that the long road was worth it. But baseball doesn't stop to celebrate for long, because just weeks after proving he belonged, everything went quiet, and the hardest part of Gunnar Hoglund's story was just the beginning. Up next. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You are not just watching the game, you are reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift, a receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Thank you for making Locked On A's your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now, take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On A's with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more. All for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedona's.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. Before we go forward, we're going to have a little fun. I'm going to take you back to May 2nd, 2025, earlier on this year, and I'm going to play a clip of Locked On A's that was done as a post-game show after the A's defeated the Miami Marlins 6-1 in Gunnar Hoglund's major league debut. Let me set the stage for you. At that point, after that win, the A's were 18-15, only 2 games out of first place. It was still early in the season. The next day, if you remember, Mason Miller gave up the grand slam to Kyle Stowers. And in game 3 of the series, Tyler Soderstrom had the 10th inning base hit for the A's to win in extras. Great early start. Only 7 games later is when trouble really started, and the losing streak and the 20 of 21 began. But I'm going to play a clip for you. Again, May 2nd, 2025, post-game show. Locked On A's, following the A's 6-1 victory over the Marlins in Gunnar Hoglund's Major League debut. Boy, how things changed. Enjoy. Gunnar Hoglund made his Major League debut in Miami and introduced himself to the baseball world with nothing short of a clinic. If you remember in the bottom of the fourth inning, Hoglund struck out the first two batters. Boom, boom, right? Real easy. And then Ramirez came up, hard single to right field. Wagaman hit a hard single off Urshela's glove, which was ruled a hit, but easily could have been scored an error. And with first and third, 2 outs, Hoglund bared down and struck out a very dangerous Matt Nervous with just a filthy changeup in a tough at bat. I mean, at that time, the game's still tight, man. At that, about freaking Gunnar Hoglund. What do you guys think of Gunnar Hoglund? Let me give you the line on Hoglund. Hoglund was efficient too. He was efficient. Hoglund threw 81 pitches, 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, 7 Ks, no walks. I mean, it was mastery, man. But like I said, the story of the night, no question, was Gunnar Hoglund, as advertised. And right now, if that's our rotation, Severino, Springs, Beddoe, Sears, Hoglund, I'm happy. It's funny to look back at that clip and how comfortable 34 games into the season I was with the bullpen, the starting pitching. It felt like everything was coming together. That's why they play 162. It's funny to look back at it now. At the time, felt like the A's were turning the corner. Who would know 10 days later, the season would begin spiraling. Let's get back to Gunnar Hoglund and his comeback. For one night, the story felt complete. The dream arrived, the proof was there, and it finally felt like Gunnar Hoglund was safe. But baseball doesn't offer security. It offers opportunity, and it can disappear just as fast, because the moment after you arrive is when the game really tests you. And that's where Gunnar Hoglund's season and his silence truly began. The problem with dreams is how fragile they are once you touch them. After that debut, Hoglund didn't get a parade. He got the grind. Big league lineups are unforgiving. Travel is brutal. Adjustments come fast, and then the pain started. Hip discomfort at first, tightness, something manageable. Only weeks later, however, the narrative turned tragic. In his third start, May 31st, 2025, back at home, Hoglund first felt the trouble in his hip. The A's diagnosis would grow only grimmer. Hip labral damage requiring surgery. By June, Gunnar Hoglund was shut down. Season over. Surgery. Rehab again. This time not an elbow, a hip. Another body part, another reset, another reminder that baseball doesn't care how hard you work to get there. On June 13th in Colorado, Hoglund underwent a season-ending right hip labral repair. His agent, Nate Heisler, confirmed via social media that Gunnar is undergoing hip surgery today and likely to miss the remainder of the 2025 season. But optimistically, quote unquote, we expect him to make a full recovery for 2026. Hoglund's manager tried to stay positive. Mark Kotsay, quote unquote, it's unfortunate for him. He got to the big leagues, earned that opportunity. For him to land on the IL and now have surgery, it's tough, I'm sure, on the individual. Yet, he still has a future in front of him. Strengthen it back up and get back out there. But the injury was a brutal blow. The young pitcher who had only just reached the majors was suddenly sidelined. By midsummer, the A's announced Hoglund would miss the entire season. In total, he had made 6 big league starts, 32 and a third innings, 6.40 ERA, 23 Ks. Flashes of promise overshadowed by that final painful outing. While the league moved on, Hoglund disappeared. No headlines, no countdown clocks, no hype videos, just empty training rooms and lonely mornings. The cruelest part wasn't the pain, it was the silence. Baseball is ruthless about memory. If you're not producing, you are invisible. One injury can erase years of effort. One lost season can make people forget you were ever there. As autumn turned to winter, Hoglund's name faded from headlines. Fans who had celebrated his debut saw little news of him. The media moved on. But off the radar, the work continued. After the surgery was deemed a success, the focus shifted to rehab. By the fall, the A's took him off the 60-day injured list, signaling that his recovery was on track. Each morning, he could be found lifting, stretching, and gradually building back strength. The same hard work ethic his grandfather had praised. Teammates and coaches quietly cheered him on, even if the loud lights of the stadium were off for now. In interviews, he remained humble, insisting he felt great and was aiming for a comeback, but he avoided grand promises. Instead, Hoglund's holiday season was not spent celebrating under mistletoe, but battling through physical therapy and bullpen sessions. He has joked among friends that his Christmas list is just a healthy hip. Through it all, he's maintained a steady vision. The field, the fans, the bright lights where one day soon he hopes to resume the story that was paused. There is nothing glamorous about rehab. It's repetitive, it's slow, it's humbling. You're rebuilding parts of your body while trying not to lose parts of your confidence. You're watching teammates live the dream you have finally reached, but got ripped away. This is where careers die, or where they are reborn. Hoglund has been here before. Tommy John taught him patience. This injury taught him perspective. He knows now that nothing is promised, not innings, not opportunities, not even a roster spot. What he does have is belief built on evidence. He's already beaten the odds once. He's already walked through the fire and come out intact. And he knows something else as well. His debut wasn't a fluke. In baseball, injury doesn't just take away innings, it takes away relevance. Gunnar Hoglund didn't lose his talent, but he lost his place in the conversation. And that quiet disappearance is often more damaging than the injury itself. Because while baseball moved on, Gunnar Hoglund didn't stop. And the real story was happening far away from the spotlight. This is the part no one seems and almost no one talks about. The empty facilities, the rehab reps that don't show up in a box score, the mental fight to stay alive in a sport that forgets you the second you are unavailable. This is where Gunnar Hoglund is right now and where his story is being rebuilt. The essence of Hoglund's story is that of resilience. He has seen the highest high, the magical debut under Florida lights, and the lowest low of abrupt injury. What remains is the grit between those points. As one local writer noted after his surgery, the A's believe he should fully recover in time for spring training next year. Indeed, even his agent's words were hopeful. We expect him to make a full recovery for 2026. The A's clubhouse knows the right-handed rookie's talent. When healthy, his fastball, mid-90s, and sharp slider can overpower hitters. Now, Hoglund's challenge is to mirror his earlier approach: patience, focus, and relentless work. His journey has been anything but straightforward. From Tommy John surgery in college to trades and minor league stints, he's overcome every hurdle so far. This Christmas Day story is still being written. Hoglund's teammates and coaches have one clear message: keep believing in him. As Kotsay said after his debut, the kid's already shown he can pitch like an ace. Now it's time for the resurrection. In the quiet off season, Gunnar Hoglund is reminded of all those who waited for him, his family, his mentors, even fans who remember that special night. And as 2026 approaches, the emotion fueling him is still that same dream from Miami: to step back on a mound and say, "This is what I was capable of." There is every reason to cheer him on, because some comebacks, after all, are worth the wait. This isn't a pity piece. This is a reminder. Baseball fans love arrival stories. We are terrible at comeback stories, especially the quiet ones. We celebrate debuts and forget the guys who have to fight just to get another chance. Gunnar Hoglund represents every player who did everything right and still got knocked down. Christmas is about hope, not the loud kind, the stubborn kind. Hoglund doesn't need saving. He needs time. He needs health. And when he gets them, he'll be back on a mound throwing with the same calm confidence he showed in Miami, not trying to prove he belongs, knowing he already does. Baseball forgot him. He didn't forget baseball. And that's why this story isn't over. Rooting for you, Gunnar. Have a Merry, Merry Christmas, everyone. Thanks for tuning in today to Locked On A's. Make sure you subscribe and follow Locked On A's so you get all the latest episodes. You could find Locked On A's on X, Instagram, and TikTok, all at Locked On A's. Did Locked On A's make your Spotify wrap? Prove it on social media to secure a free month of our brand new Everydayer Club. Just tag our national Locked On Podcast Network account on any social platform, and we will drop you a code. Be one of the first to join the Everydayer Club to get your favorite show ad-free and exclusive access to the member-only Discord channel. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On MLB.